I took one electric car and one electric motorcycle for a ride for 7 days in the city of Singapore. Fun fact, it was really fast. More fun fact, it goes very, very, very fast. That 12% right now, and the remaining time is almost 7 hours. There are more than 10 million electric vehicles in the world. That's pretty impressive considering that if you rewound back a decade, you'd find a grand total of 0. Before the world can fully make the switch to electric, sufficient infrastructure has to be in place first, especially in cities crammed with high-rise apartments. Governments all around the world have been encouraging it with policies and incentives. But where are we on that journey? And Kansas City dweller like me adapt? Here's what I learned. If you drive electric, you still have to contend with all of the pitfalls of city driving and the charging question, like where would I charge it? How fast or slow will charging be, and with rising electrical prices, how much will a full charge cost? So I'm here to trade my private transport in for brand new electric vehicles for the week, just to see what are the pain points and the plus points. 5 years ago, there were only 12 pure electric cars driving on Singapore roads. And by August 2021, there were more than 1,800 electric cars, with about 11% of them being Teslas, and that's just in a small city-state. In 2021, 6.75 million EVs were sold globally. That's double 2020's figures. Tesla leads the market with the most all-electric car sales by far in 2021, followed by the Volkswagen Group, BYD GN and the Stellantis Group, which has brands such as Jeep, Chrysler and Alfa Romeo and Unstable. Now back to driving. After being on the road for a while, I decided to give my car its first charge during lunch, but I had to find a charging point first. Thankfully, there were several apps to help me with that. They said that there's charging lots here, just trying to find them. So there's two kinds of charging points. This is the normal kind, I believe, and this one is the fast charger. Is it far enough? It doesn't look like it's far enough. I think I need to turn the car, okay, because the charging cable wasn't long enough. So I have to go hidden first. Okay, take 2. Right now it's actually full. So we're going to see if it makes any difference. We have to add our credit card to the app first. Oh, fantastic. So in the time that we took the car to our first charge, we went down 3%. It says that it will take 4 minutes. It's been 10 minutes plus and it has only charged 4%, not a full charge. So I think what we're going to do is going to stop right now. We don't need a full charge. Hyundai promised a mileage of up to 484 kilometers with a full charge for its Kona electric model. So I put it to the test. This has been a very, very fun ride, very smooth, basically like any other car, just that we were not visiting petrol stations anymore. We are using our mobile apps to locate the nearest charging point, and we're going to be heading there right now. Because it's less than 60 kilometers to go and I don't want to risk going on an empty battery. Oh, it's just very fun. Fantastic. And I'm gonna learn from my mistakes. I'm gonna go hit in. This is a slow charger. So I'm gonna plug it in and see how long it will take. The battery level does say that is very low right now. Let's see how long it will take. So using a slow charger, it said 12% right now, and the remaining time is almost 7 hours. It's charging, but slowly and surely. I think it's a little bit too slow, even with this service being free. So what we're going to do is we're going to juice it up to maybe 15 or 20%. And then we're going to find a fast charger, to see how long it would take, because I'm not sitting here for 7 hours. I'm very highly aware that I have very little juice in my car now. So we're gonna find a fast charger as soon as we can. I feel like I'm an expert already. 48 minutes, which is a big improvement, but we're gonna go grab some coffee and see and come back in about an hour. Is that 84% charge within the 45 minutes it took for me to grab some coffee, and there are 16 minutes to go to 100% charge. So I think that's pretty good. We're gonna stop charging here, and then we're gonna see how much it costs, and it's only $15.36. Singapore is a country of only 2,000 charging points. The city-state aims for all vehicles to make a switch to clean energy by 2040. But there's more than 950,000 vehicles on the road today, including cars, motorcycles, buses and taxis. So how is that going to be possible? There are currently about 1.4 million public and private parking lots in Singapore, spread over 12,000 carpets. Building a wider EV infrastructure in such a densely packed place has its challenges too. Within the next decade, the country aims to have 60,000 EV charging points across the island, of which 40,000 are in public car parks, and the remainder in private premises. There is a range of innovative products out there. Peter Mark is the managing director of the International Council on Clean Transportation in Europe. For example, you have those lampposts, where you can plug in your electric car and charge it. And it doesn't take up lots of space, is relatively cheap and can be rolled out throughout the city. You have a lot of supermarkets nowadays in Europe that allow you to recharge while you're shopping in the supermarket. And they have charging infrastructure on the parking lots. And I think that's a very intelligent way because you're using space that is anyway. And you involve the private businesses that can build up the infrastructure. What do we want to do is look at electric vehicles. And that's not just cars, right? I've ridden more than 13 years longer than I've driven. So I'm here to pick up an electric motorcycle from Italian manufacturer in an Energica trade in my trial for a couple of weeks and see if it would compel this biker to make a switch. You wanted something that was on two wheels, and in the market that a lot in the channel was with a swappable batteries and not. And we looked around and the best bike possible to bring onto the market would be something really high in energy. CA would be that one. Tell us about this one. This is the Energy Per Se C+. The base model for this has 80 kilowatt motor with a 21.5 kilowatt battery. But the performance on this, if we go just based on specs alone, is 0 to 102.8 seconds. Wow, that's really fast. And I'm sure have the opportunity to test it out. What's the comparison between this bike and conventional CC bike? More comparison? Plain and simple. Let's open up the bike. Here's your DC and AC charger. So I can charge anywhere that I can charge an electric car. That's correct. So we have a charging office and that's why we charge it. If you're not looking for, to me it's like a normal person will work for about 6-7 hours. Do you get a hole and it's fully charged? People like myself, people who are trying out electric vehicles who's only used to the norm and trying to change that mindset, and I think that's one of the hardest parts about trying to get people to switch over, right? Number one when we talk about EVs is always range anxiety. Energica has got one of the highest range on an eco mode. It goes about charging it on real-world knowledge that's really more than half awake. And it's perfect because in a city like Singapore, right, you're not always on the highways, you're on traffic stop, go every time he stops. There's actually a current 126 amps going back into the battery. The second one is the lifespan of the battery. They like to liken it to a headphone. My headphone, after 3 years, my battery's dead, but if before an EV car or bike, as long as you keep the battery within a healthy range of 20 to 80%, it will last you 10 years or more. Once you change the whole mindset about that, right, then you realize that actually electric cars and bikes are really the way to go. The global motorcycle market generated sales of around $109 billion in 2021, and motorbikes and scooters remain the primary means of transport in countries like Vietnam and India. I took a ride down to Scorpio Electric, the first electric motorcycle brand launched from Singapore, were found in Melbourne. Go introduces to me the X1, that premium electric scooter. We have a range of 200 km. So I think there's a very good range for city riding. Talk space around 5 km an hour. There is a charger port here, which you can charge from any car charger. What were the things that you saw could be improved in the market? The connectivity is something that is mass for the future. So we have a lot of function on apps will tell you can locate the charging location. The battery condition, everything's both on the phone and on the apps. Scorpio as a company, you are a startup. What has been the biggest challenge breaking into the electric motorcycle market? We are short of peloton. So it's a question of the government, the people, the enterprise. Those companies encouraging electric, and it will happen eventually very quickly. The next one wasn't available yet for a demo, right? But the Scorpio team allowed me to test ride an earlier prototype. So a lot of fun. Great, right? And I was treated to the power of the electric scooter with one of the guys doing a quick burnout. After days of heavy usage on the Energica, it was time for a juicer. It's charging right now. The lights will light up, the dashboard lights up, is at 39% now. So this electric bike, as long as I've had it, I brought it through the ringer. I've ridden in the rain, I've ridden more than 150 kilometers, and it's only at 39%. Now 40%. When I got it, it was almost 95%. So that's pretty good for a week's worth of riding. So it says that there's 16 minutes less for a full charge. That's pretty good. So that's just enough, isn't even enough for a coffee from 40% to 80% charge. It's about $3.44. The electric bike is definitely heavier, but not necessarily harder to ride. And look. Well. I'm a true blue city girl. And I think if I've ridden on enough electric motorcycles and scooters and found the right one for me, the right height, the right size, I might make the switch. Back in the Kana, I decided to do a lost charge and I ran into another problem. I know from own experience